Hearing people often ask if I can read lips, and I typically answer no, and here's why. But let me tell you a little story. So there's a deaf woman who was struggling financially and she was trying to make ends meet. She started to realize that she needed to get a side job to support her family. So she decided to go to a wealthier neighborhood. And as she was driving through, she spotted one particular house. And she pulls up to their house and decides to knock on their front door. Suddenly the man opens the door and starts to speak to her. The deaf woman then points to her ears, signaling that she's deaf. And so the man did what most people do and said, "Do you read lips?" She responded like this, signing, "Oh, a little bit. I can read lips a little bit." Then she started to gesture to the man that should be willing to paint or clean or some other side job, like building something for money. So the man thought to himself and said, yeah, sure, that sounds good. Let me think of something for you to do. And said, "Well, can you paint the porch? The porch?" And as the woman was reading his lips, she said, "Yeah, I can paint that perfect." So then she asks if he'll pay her $100. He gives her a thumbs up, saying that's fine, goes to grab a paper and a pen. Then he takes a moment to write something down. So she reads the paper and he says that all the paint equipment is in the garage around the corner and for her to feel free to help herself. So she goes to the garage and he closes the door. And then he walks into the living room and sits down. Soon after, his wife comes in and says, "What's going on?" And he tells his wife that a deaf woman came by and that he hired her to paint the porch. A few hours later, there's a knock on the door, and the man opens the door to the woman and asks her if the work is completed. The woman nods her head and points to her lips and says it's done. However, the man looked around with a perplexed look on his face. The porch isn't painted at all. Then he looked up, and he saw that his Porsche was painted. Well, Porsche and porch do look the same on the lips, and that's why I don't read lips.